Tita Lolita Del Mundo, mother po siya nung aking kumare, Sir Butch, na laman tuloy na kumare ko na nakikinig sa atin, yung kanyang nanay, kasi nakita po dun sa Facebook, ka-friend mo pala yan, sabi sa akin no, so matagal na raw siya nakikinig, yung nanay niya, at naikwento sa akin. Happy listening po, at alam ko birthday niya sa darating, matagal-tagal pa naman, November 9, kay Tita Lolita Del Mundo, yan. At syempre, kay Glenzon o Jojo Galura ng City Star Cruise, yan, yung taxi driver natin. At syempre, happy listening din
marami tayong taxi drivers. Si Rani, yung
last week,
guest natin siya dito, si Rani, na? Maraming barkada yan. Rani, magandang gabi sa iyo at saka lahat ng kabarkada mo at mga pasahero mo.
At ingat po sila sa kanilang pagbiyahe. At syempre, happy listening din kay Maria Teresa Monsales, si Ate Muray. Hello po kayo dyan sa inyong kinalalagyan ngayon. At kay Ian Calatero, kay Anthony, kay Don Mendoza. At syempre, yung sexy at masarap magluto na si Perlene. Magandang gabi sa iyo. At hindi ko rin kalimutan si Poker, si Jose Panglina, na pagka wala ako, alam na alam niya, Sir Butch.
Talaga.
Alam na alam nila. Pero lahat po kayo, marami pong salamat sa inyong pakikinig po at manatili po tayong manindigan sa katotohanan nang hindi po tuluyang mawasak ang ating lipunan. Kathy Cruz po ito ng Save the Nation Movement.
Okay, good evening po sa... Okay, good evening po sa lahat. Ito po ang gatipin yung si Virgie Bido mula po sa La Rouge Movement and sa Save the Nation, at binabati natin ka Butch si Ray Mundo na laging nire-record daw ang ating ka Butch, ang ating programa. Okay, very good. At kanyang sinishare yan. Yan sa Facebook, no. At maging si Victor Cuela ng Cebu. Nakikinig din sa atin, at sila Chris, yan, sila Ben, sila Lawrence. Pwede nilang bisitahin ng ating website, di ba, Ver? At nandun yung ating mga previous programs, di ba, naka-upload doon. Natin yan. Ha? At saka sa 4Shades ka, Butch, naka-upload yan, no? Naka-upload saan? Sa shared po na tsaka naka-posting po yun sa Facebook po natin. Sa Facebook, yung ating programa. Alam nyo pa, dapat po pina-upload dun sa ating Save the Nation website pero medyo busy siguro yung ating top assistant dito. Pero may ilalagay mo din naman, di ba? Because meron po tayong copy ng lahat ng mga programa natin dito. Opo, Kabutsa. Ayan, at syempre binabati rin natin sina Benny, sila Lawrence, at si Malu na wala ngayon dito. Maluke Rubin. Si Maluke Rubin, at syempre si PJ, yan. Good evening. At sama-sama sila Dr. Vivencio. And of course, si Rose and si Dr. Vivencio. At Kabuch Vivencio Jose. Na magkakaroon ng book launch yan ngayong week, no? Siguro may-announce natin yan later on.
Sir Butch, habol ko lang, sa lahat ng mga gustong makinig ng ating programa, naka-upload po siya doon sa Facebook page po ng Save the Nation. Pwede po nilang pakinggan at pwede rin po nilang i-download.
Okay, very good. Okay, antabayanan po mamaya ng konti, tatawag po dito sa atin isa pong mahalagang guest natin, tatawag from Washington DC. Walang iba po kundi siya ay isa pong senador ng dating senador, 3-term senator siya ng United States of America. Bibigyan po natin kayo ng konting background bago po natin siya makapanayam. Ang pangalan niya po, Senator Mike Gravel. at meron po siyang mahalagang information sa atin at panawagan sa mga mamamayang Pilipino. Humingi siya ng tulong. Hindi dahil po tatakbo siya, no? Hindi siya, pero tulong tungkol dito sa mga ginagawa ng ni President Obama at bansang Amerika na hindi siya sumasang-ayon. Okay, for those who want to send your messages, our katipunan text is 0917-964-8818. Kung meron po kayong messages, questions, comments, whatever it is na, you just text us at 0917-964-8818. At kung gusto niyo pong sumali sa ating talakayan, you just our hotlines are 882-2371 and 882-2374, 882-2376 at 882-2378. Also, we are live streaming on rmnnews.com/tv. If you're on the net, we are in rmnnews.com/tv. And of course, as always, kung gusto nyo pong malaman kung anong nangyayari sa buong mundo, no? Ito pong lahat ng mga sitwasyon na hindi nyo na kinakailangan pumunta pa sa mga CNN, Fox News o hinihintay nyo na lang sa dyaryo. Kung meron kayo pong internet, you go to larouchepac.com, LAROUCHEPAC.com. That gets updated almost every hour on the hour. larouchepac.com. Bago pong lahat, we'll ask Kathy to do the honors. Matagal na niyang hindi ginagawa ito. Napapaubayan na lang niya sa akin ang pagbabasa ng statement. Pero ngayon, kinakailangan magtrabaho din siya. Kung hindi, wala kaming kakainin mamaya. Okay, ano po ito? Ito po yung deklarasyon ng Save the Nation movement. Again, due to insistent public demand, gustong-gusto nilang binabasa ito ni Kathy, no? Ito pong isa sa mga deklarasyon ng Save the Nation movement. None other than this statement entitled, Mr. President, ang issue ay kasinungalingan mo.
Mr. President, ang issue ay kasinungalingan mo. Ang pagnanakaw at walang kakayanan ay hindi lamang ang tanging usapin dito. Kasinungalingan mo ang pangunahing issue dito. Ginoong Pangulo, tila hindi mo nauunawaan ang aming ipinahihiwatig. Dapat mong maintindihan na ang kasamaan ni Satanas ay hindi dahil sa siya mismo ay nagkasala, kundi siya ang nagtutulak na gumawa ng masama ang iba. Mahirap bang intindihin yan? Ikaw ang dahilan ng pagsisinungaling at pagnanakaw ng iba. Bagaman di napapatunayang ikaw ay isang magnanakaw o may kapansanan sa pag-iisip, ngunit ang sambayan ng Pilipino ay batid na ikaw ay isang sinungaling. Ang issue ay ang kasinungalingan mo. Hindi ba totoo na nagtago ka at hindi mahagilap sa loob ng 10 oras sa nangyaring Luneta hostage na naging sanhi ng pagkamatay ng 8 turistang Chino dahil sa takot mong magpakita upang harapin ang iyong tungkulin at sagutin ang tawag ng Secretary General ng Hong Kong? Hindi ba totoo na ikaw ang nag-utos sa iyong budget secretary upang gawin at ipamahagi ang malalaking halaga mula sa pondo ng PDAF upang ang mga mambabatas ay itulak, tangkilikin at ipasa ang Reproductive Health Bill? Hindi ba totoo na ikaw ang iyong budget secretary at ang liderato ng mababang kapulungan ay gumawa na mahagi ng limpak-limpak na salapi mula sa pondo ng Disbursement Acceleration Program o DAP upang kanilang isulong, suportahan at isakatuparan ang pagpapatanggal sa Supreme Court Chief Justice, takutin ang hudikatura upang hayaan o pabayaan ang lahat ng pagkilos mong bawang labag sa konstitusyon ng Pilipinas? Hindi ba totoo na umabuso ka sa paggamit o paggastos sa Kongreso kahit ang nasabing port na ibinigay mo na kapag ninakaw ay hindi direktang maibubunton ang pananagutan sa iyo? Hindi ba totoo na ikaw, ang iyong budget secretary, ay nagpatupad ng isang uri ng pagpapalit o pagbabago-bago ng patakarang pananalapi o reclassification of accounts upang dumoble ang iyong discretionary funds na umabot sa halos 1.2 trilyong piso sa loob ng isang taon na hindi maaring marikisa o masuri ng Commission on Audit na pinagmulan ng pondong ipinamigay para sa political manipulation at hawakan ang buong kapangyarihan ng ehekutibo na tulad ng de facto dictatorship? Hindi ba totoo na minamadali mo ang kasunduang pangkapayapaan sa MILF kahit batid mong magdudulot ng paghiwa-hiwalay ng malaking bahagi ng ating mga kababayang Muslim, mga lumads, ang pagsasawalang bahala sa kanilang lehitimong hinaing at pagbabaliwala mo sa mga nakaraang kasunduan na ginawa ng pamahalaan upang ipangalandakang nais mo ng kapayapaan? Hindi ba totoo na binabandera mo ang public-private partnership bilang iyong ekonomiyang programa na isinusuko mo ang lahat ng pampublikong serbisyo sa pribadong sektor na nagpapahintulot ng patuloy na pagtaas ng halaga ng kuryente, tubig, pampublikong transportasyon upang lumaking lubos ang kanilang kinikita kahit mahirapan ng taong bayan dahil sa patuloy na pagtaas ng presyo ng pagkain, gamot at iba pang pangangailangan upang mabuhay? Hindi ba totoo na unti-unti ka hanggang sa lubos ng nakikipagkasunduan sa bansang Amerika upang payagan ang kasundaluhang Amerikano, mga barkong pandigma na taglay ang armas nuklear upang makapaglabas-masok sa lahat ng ating daungan, katubigang saklaw at pag-aari, gayon din ang iba pang pasilidad na isang malinaw na puro paglabag sa ating saligang batas na dapat ang ating bayan ay walang armas nuklear? Hindi ba totoo na makailang ulit kang nagsinungaling ng iyong malalim na pagkakadawit sa insidente ng Mamasapano matapos ang isang palpak na military operation na iyong ipinag-utos? Hindi ba totoo na ipinapasa mo ang sisi sa iyong mga opisyal nang ipinag-utos mo sa suspendidong si General Purisima at kay General Napeñas upang gawin silang sangkalan? Hindi ba totoo na ikaw mismo ang nag-utos sa sandatahang lakas ng Pilipinas na huwag nang sagipin o pumigil na sagipin ang SAF-44 na maliwanag na hinayaan mong patayin at mamatay sila dahil sa iyong personal at politikal na kapakinabangan? Hindi ba totoo na ang mga opisyal ng militar ng sandatahang lakas ng Pilipinas at pambansang kapulisan ng Pilipinas ay nagsinungaling sa taong bayan upang protektahan ka at di masisi? Hindi ba totoo na madalas kang daladala ng magulang mo noong panahon pa pa ng iyong kabataan sa dalubhasang psychiatrist at psychologist dahil sa iyong malalang problema? Hindi ba totoo na hindi ka dapat pinayagang tumakbo at humawak ng posisyon na bilang mambabatas, lalong-lalo na ang pagkapangulo ng bansang Pilipinas dahil sa iyong kapansanan sa pag-iisip? Hindi ba totoo na ang kasinungalingan ay kapatid ng pagnanakaw? Hindi ba totoo na ang kasinungalingan ay taliwas sa katarungan? Hindi ba totoo na ang kasinungalingan ay hindi hahantong sa kapayapaan? Mr. President, hindi ba totoo na ang issue ay ang kasinungalingan mo? Ang tunay na pamumuno ay inaasahang paglilingkuran ang kapakanan ng taong bayan at hindi ninuman. Ang tunay na pamumuno ay inaasahang laging magsasabi ng tapat at hindi palawigin ang kasinungalingan. Ang tunay na pamumuno ay inaasahang magliligtas ng buhay at hindi sirain ito. Kung ang iyong pamunuan ay patuloy na tatalikdan ang sinumpaang tungkulin na sanhi ng patuloy na paghihirap at pasakit at aabot sa hangganan ng pagtitiis at pag-unawa ng mga Pilipino, nanganganib ang iyong administrasyon na mapalitan sa kagustuhan ng sambayanan kahit mga hulugan ng pag-aalay ng kanilang mga sariling buhay. Mananawagan kami sa sambayanang Pilipino, sa lahat ng hanay ng ating lipunan, sa mga kabataan, sa mga profesional, sa pribadong sektor, manggagawa, magbubukid at mangingisda, lalo na sa sandatahang lakas ng Pilipinas at pambansang pulisya ng Pilipinas na ipagtanggol ang ating kasarinlan. Sama-sama tayong magkaisa na tutulan ang patuloy na pandoloko ng mga politiko at walang kwenta, ganid o masasamang elemento na nagnanakaw ng ating likas na yaman, na nagbebenta ng ating minanang kasarinlan at sumisira ng kinabukasan ng ating salinlahi. Panindigan natin ang kasarinlan ng Republika ng Pilipinas. Labanan natin ang kung sino man na lumalapastangan sa ating bayan, maging sila ay dayuhan o mga trahidor na Pilipino. Magkaisa tayo ngayon at patalsikin natin ang lahat na magnanakaw, mga walang kakayanan at sinungaling na salot sa bayan. Mabuhay ang sambayanan, mabuhay ang patriotikong Pilipino, mabuhay ang Republika ng Pilipinas. Nilagdaan, Solidarity for Sovereignty o S4S at Save the Nation Movement.
That news was brought to you by V-Fresh. Kapayapaan, karunungan, kasipagan, sigaw ng bayan, V-Fresh.
You're all I look for in a wife. Alam kong ikaw na. Will you marry me? Ba't may sing-sing ka na?
Kamay kasi ng waitress yung hawak mo.
Poor eyesight? Have your eyes checked at EO Executive Optical for state-of-the-art facilities and affordable eyewear. And say
yes
to better eyesight. Love your eyes. If you love your eyes, come visit EO Executive Optical today for expert eye care. With over 100 branches nationwide to serve you, EO Executive Optical exclusively distributes Scene and EO Eyewear.
Sa bahay, isa akong ina na nag-aalaga ng pamilya. Sa The Generics Pharmacy, isa akong pharmacist na naghahatid ng gamot na generics na dekalidad, sinbisa at singligtas ng branded. Bilang ina man o bilang pharmacist, parehong alagang ina ang ibinibigay ko. Para sa alagang ina, The Good Pharmacist. Basta Generics, The Generics Pharmacy.
Ang resetang sigurado, may generics. Magre-reseta ba si Doc ng masama sa'yo? Tandaan, basta generics at gamot pang maintenance, TGP, The Generics Pharmacy lamang. Nandito ang reseta ng doktor. Now with over 1,700 branches nationwide to serve you.
DZXL 558. Nanguna sa inyong mga radyo.
Okay, balik po tayo dito sa ating katipunan. Ito po yung katipunan si Butch Valdez. At kakatapos lang po basahin ni Cathy, ito pong isa sa ating mga deklarasyon ng Save the Nation Movement. Walang iba kundi yung that which is entitled Mr. President, ang issue ay ang kasinungalingan mo. Sobra naman talagang kasinungalingan eh. At hindi makakalimutan ng tao yan, maski na paano nyong ipasok lahat itong mga presidential candidates, kung ano-anong nangyayari dyan, yan ang yung kasinungalingan nitong presidenteng to, patuloy pa rin. At hindi dapat lubayan ng mga patriotikong Pilipino yan. Huwag kayong papagoyo dito sa electoral circus. Anyway, as I had mentioned earlier, alam niyo po meron tayong panauhin tonight na siya po isang US three-termer na senador sa Estados Unidos. Walang iba kundi si Senator Mike Gravel. Hanggang ngayon po, of course, retired na siya as a senator, but he has been very, very active in the current affairs sa United States, at nagbibigay siya ng mga posisyon at lumalabas din siya, nai-interview pa rin siya sa mga pahayagan at mga radio and television stations sa bansang Amerika. Ang kahuli-hulihan niyang tinutukan at sinusuportahan ang itutulak sa kanyang mga kasamahan sa Senado ay ang paghabla dito kay President Barack Obama hinggil dito sa paggamit niya ng drones, no? Yung drones, alam niyo po, yung parang mga eroplano na may ginagamit po ni Barack Obama sa pag-aatake sa mga kalaban. At ano yan po, remote control. Wala pong pilotong nakasakay dyan, naka-remote control lang yan sa malayong lugar, no? At yung mga nagpapatakbo dyan, ang tinitiglang lang nila yung parang telebisyon, at ginigiyan nila itong mga remote control na eroplano na may dalang mga bomba. Tapos i-identify nila yung mga target nila at i-release yung mga raketa doon, no? At papasabugin yung mga gusali o yung mga bahay o mga grupong mga tao. Ang problema dito, siyempre ang sinasabi nila, ang may operasyon nito, walang iba kundi yung kanilang CIA head, etong si Brennan, di ba? Brennan ba yung pangalan nun? At etong si Brennan, ang sinasabi niya ay siyempre yung mga target natin nandyan, pero pag pumutok yung bomba, may mga ibang nadadamay. Maraming namamatay. Ang statistikong lumalabas, sa kada isa nilang titirahin, 10 sibilyan ang nadadali at namamatay din. Gusto sabihin, sibilyan, bata, matanda, babae, lalaki na hindi kasama, at doon lang sa mismong target nila ang papaputukan, pero sa pati yung patay. Para patayin yung isang yon, pumapatay sila ng 10 o 20 tao. Etong ganitong patakaran ni Barack Obama, no, ay binanatan ni Senator Gravel, no, at naengganyo niya yung mga iba-ibang mga organisasyon katulad na ng mga Amnesty International at mga ibang membro ng Senado na suriin ng mabuti at hanapan ng pamamaraan para ihablan nila at pigilin nila o ibisto nila etong si Barack Obama dito sa kanyang napakasamang programa, yung tinatawag nilang drone wars. Okay, yan ang pinaka-latest na kanyang inaano ngayon. Pero kasama nitong isyong ito, napag-alaman niya at naabot sa kanyang kaalaman pala na meron tayong isang sitwasyon dito sa Pilipinas. Kala nyo po, hindi alam nitong mga ibang mga mambabata sa Amerika itong pinoproblema natin, itong EDCA. Alam nyo po yung EDCA, nung pinirmahan yan at pumayag itong si Noynoy Aquino dito sa mga Amerikano na magtayo sila ng kanilang base militar sa loob ng ating base militar to construct US facilities inside Philippine military bases, no? At ang balita ko, 8 na daw ang dinalagyan nila nitong mga bases inside the Philippine bases all over the country. Ang nature nitong mga tinatayo nilang base militar na ito ay hindi natin alam. Sikretong-sikreto po ito. Nakabakod dyan sa loob ng mga Philippine military bases. At walang nakakaalam. Maski na yung commander, maski na yung general natin, doon sa military base natin, na kinalalagyan ng US military base yan, hindi pwedeng pumasok, hindi pwedeng umusisa kung ano yung linalagay nyo dyan. Hindi pwedeng sumilip. Palagay ko, maski na si President Noynoy, no, hindi nila papayagan pumasok dyan. Bakit? Ganyan ang kanilang usapan ni Noynoy Aquino. Kanya hindi natin alam kung ano yung hinuhukay-hukay nila dyan. Malay mo, baka gumagawa na sila ng silos. Alam nyo po ba yung silo? Yung ginagamit pang ng mga raketa? Ha? Na may mga nuclear warheads.
Pundasyon ng rocket yung gamot.
Oo nga. Yung mismong silo, baka bumabaon na yan, walang nakakaalam. Bigla-bigla. Ang nakakaalam lang dyan, yung mga ibang mga kalaban nila. Sino yung mga kalaban nila? Baka. Siyempre yung mga China, no? Yung mga satellite, nakikita-kita nila lahat yung mga yan.
Diba, kapag diba kailangan ng treaty dyan?
Oo.
Para bago yung...
yun na nga. Walang ganyan na treaty. Taka, walang paubaya man o sa Senado. Alam mo, bago magka-treaty, kailangan approve ng Senado. Tapos, iraratify pa yan sa isang referendum. Hindi na sila pumasok dyan sa mga ganyan. No? Etong si Noynoy, kanya ayaw niyang hindi na kanya isa sa mga reason bakit na ginulo itong mga Korte Suprema, tinanggal niya itong Supreme Court Chief Justice para matakot lahat itong mga nasa Korte Suprema na wag siyang kokontrahin dito sa gagawin niya, no? Paglalabag sa ating saligang batas ang ginawa niyan. Walang treaty, walang abiso, basta siya lang ang papayag dito sa kanyang ginagawa. Ngayon, is that definitely, that is tinatawag nilang inimical to our security, to our national security. Para bang pinapayagan niyang magtatayo dito ng mas malawak pang base militar ng Amerikano, no, dito sa atin, itong buong bayan natin. At pag nag-upakan ang bansang China tsaka Amerika, dito po sa ating bayan, tayo po yung patay. Ngayon, ito pong EDCA, ang tawag dito ay Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement na pinasukan nitong presidente. Isa sa mga namumuno dito sa... nag-complain po tayo sa Korte Suprema nito. Naghabla hinablan natin, sinasabi natin, labag ito sa ating saligang batas at sa ating national interest. At hindi dapat pinasukan ito dahil kulang nga sa mga proseso na kinakailangan daanan para maipasa itong agreement na ito. Ito pong si Attorney Harry Roque, ang isa sa mga namumuno dyan, yan sa paghahabla dito sa Korte Suprema. Nag-file sila ng complaint para pigilin ito. Hindi natin alam kung, alam nyo na, ang Korte Suprema, mga politiko din yan kung may pressure sila kay Noynoy, ang ginagawa nila, inuupuan lang yung kaso. At parang tumagal, no? At walang desisyon, so patuloy yung ginagawa ng mga Kano tsaka ni Noynoy dito sa atin. Ngunit nakaabot ito sa mga patriotiko din na mga Amerikano. Isa na yan, dyan, walang iba kundi itong si Senator Gravel, Senator Mike Gravel. At gusto niya sana makisali dito sa kaso na sinampan ni Harry Roque dito sa Korte Suprema, na para mabigyan pa ng mas malawak na pagkakaintindi ang ating Korte Suprema dito sa mga pangyayaring ito. Basically, ang gusto niya sana, sabi niya, the decision of the Philippine government to enter into an Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement, EDCA, with the United States government is neither in the best interest of the Filipino people nor in the best interest of the American people. Nakikita niyo po, ayan it is not good for us and not good for the American people. At nagbibigay po siya ng kanyang mga reasons. At mamaya pag nakapasok na po siya, yan po ang bibigyan nating pagkakataon sa kanya para mabigyan niya ng pagpaliwanag ang kanyang gustong gawin at kung paano siyang makakatulong sa atin at protektahin na rin ang mga interes ng mga mamayan Amerikano sa kanilang bansa. Okay, I think we have our guest on the line now. Is none other than, of course, who I was referring to earlier. His name is Honorable Senator Mike Gravel of the United States of America. Good evening, Senator.
Good evening and it's good morning here, but happy to be on your program.
Thank you very much for joining us, Senator. And just the past few minutes, I've been giving our listeners. You are now on nationwide radio, and we also have listeners via the internet all over the world. As a matter of fact, we understand the East Coast of the United States, where we have our radio, connected radio station, are also listening now. So there might be quite a number of Filipinos listening to you as well in the East Coast of the U.S.
Very good. Very good. Well, I'm just visiting here on the East Coast. As you know, I live in California, so there's a 3-hour advantage for this kind of a call. But I'm delighted to be on your program and happy to proceed with any questions you would have.
Right. Well, before the questions, we would like you to make your own initial opening remarks and statement. Basically, Mr. Senator Gravel, I had mentioned that one of your principal efforts now has something to do with the drone program of Obama, but also your specific interest in helping not just the Filipino people, but as well the American people as well, with regard to this plan of President Obama to get into a military position here in the Philippines vis-a-vis China. So
you raised two good points, and let me proceed.
Yes, go ahead, Senator.
The first one is, of course, very, very sad, because when you get the President of the United States who gets involved in developing a list of people around the world that need to be killed, and there's no judgment, there's no investigation, there's no rights, there's no other side to the story. It's just the president and his military advisors and the other bureaucrats that are involved in the entire chain of this decision. They make a decision as to who's to live or who's to die, and we've been monitoring them with drones, and then of course we use the drone and we hit the target, probably kill the person that they're after killing, but at the same time we kill a number of innocent bystanders.
Right.
This is a moral depravity, and that's the word. It's a moral depravity. There's no sense of human empathy and sympathy and sense of understanding that our country's founded upon the right of habeas corpus, where a person can confront his accusers and defend himself. There's no process at all with that, with the drones. And the drone, of course, is a new military weapon, new on the scene, and there's a great deal of critical analysis as to the morality of its use. But that the president has stepped forward, and I can say that I was in a debate in 2007 with Barack Obama, and where I questioned his decision offering to AIPAC, that's the Jewish lobby, that everything would be on the table with respect to Iran. Well, that's code in the United States that we're prepared to use nuclear weapons as a first strike capability, which incidentally is American policy, and I think it's wrong. I oppose this totally. But when I questioned him on this and somewhat embarrassed him, at the end of the debate he's walking by me and he's saying, "Gravel, who the hell are you to question my morality?" Well, I questioned it then, and I question it today, and I'm really embarrassed to say, as an American, that the government itself, the Congress, is not questioning the morality of this wanton use of drones. Now, the other issue is one that is very, very serious. The United States has been pushing to expand its military position in the Philippines. And the reason why they want to do that is they want to be right up close to China, because the Philippines is right at their doorstep, and they want to be there so they can harass China. And it would mean, from the Philippine point of view, that though we have forces agreements where they, right now, they train together, and now they've got a secret agreement put in place to reoccupy Subic Bay and Clark Air Force Base. But that's just part of it. The plan would be to really arm the Philippines to the hilt. And because, very simply, that is where that would be the friction edge of the conflict between the United States and China. And that conflict is initiated primarily by the United States. China has increased to some degree, not very much compared to its global situation economically. They've increased their military expenditures. But those expenditures are less than a third of what the American expenditures are. And of course, the American expenditures for, quote, defense equal to all of the world's expenditures put together. And so here in Asia, we're trying to harass China, to embarrass them. And this whole deal about the islands, understand that all the disputants, that would be China, the Philippines, Taiwan, Malaysia, all of them have been trying to increase their position with the islands for the sake of to make a legal argument. It's a really a false start. That should not be an issue, and I would hope that China, as part of its policy of One Belt, One Road, would use their projected maritime component and take the initiative under the auspices of the United Nations and call for a regional forum and to declare the China Sea in its entirety beyond the 12-mile limit of every nation, to declare it the commons, and that everybody that border the sea should be able to share in its economic benefits, should be able to share in its utilization, and understand that the U.S. is very a great deal of hypocrisy, because we say that our presence is there on the other side of the Pacific in order to guarantee maritime freedom of the seas. Well, we are one of very few countries in the world that have not signed the law of the sea. This is the international law that protects the freedom of the seas and the environment of the seas and beyond that. And so here, we're not signatures to that, but we claim, because of our military strength, that we can go anywhere in the world and we're going to guarantee maritime freedom. Well, the first step we could do is to sign the law of the sea, to ratify that, and that would be showing sincerity with respect to that view. But without that sincerity, what we see is using this maritime problem in the China Sea as a device to hassle, to try to embarrass China, and it won't work. But the thing that I'm most concerned of is the decision that's about to be made in your judiciary, and then I hope later in this Senate of the Philippines, and that would be to do what was done before, when you threw the United States out of Subic Bay and Clark, and that would be that the Philippines would be neutral. It would divest itself of all foreign military presence, and would recognize that the future of the Philippines is in Asia, and the largest economic entity in Asia, and the most successful economic entity in Asia, is of course China. China has done something that has never been done in the history of the human civilization, and that is to take 500 million people and transfer them from poverty to middle class. That's an awesome accomplishment, and in that process, there was benefits that accrued to the Philippines, to Taiwan, to Japan, to South Korea, to Malaysia, and so I would hope that we would that the Philippines would recognize that first and foremost they got to make their arrangements with their neighbors, and that is China and the other countries bordering the China Sea. And to make those economic arrangements would be most profitable for the Philippines and for the Filipino people. And so that would be, in my mind, the best goal to pursue, and to move away from any thought of militarizing itself. In fact, I'll be very crude and say that the American plan to militarize the archipelago, the Philippine archipelago, is nothing more than creating of the Philippines a whorehouse for the American military. That will be the end result of this whole process. And so I hope that the Philippine leadership will be intelligent enough to move away from that and assert their sovereign independence. So that's it, Butch, for my comments.
Okay, thank you very much for your initial statement, Senator. Well, there are quite a number of issues that come to my mind, but let me attack first the issue that you had said earlier, that the United States intends to arm the Philippines, if I'm correct, and that it will be the friction point, and this is a scary statement for us, because the thing that comes to my mind right now, to be used by the U.S. as a friction point with China, is it the same as the way the U.S. has been using Ukraine as a friction point with Russia?
Exactly. Except that what the U.S. did in Ukraine is we engineered this coup against a legally elected government, and then set in motion everything that's happened in that regard in order to antagonize Russia. And of course, President Putin has acted much more intelligent in dealing with the problem than has been the President of the United States. And I might say that the same thing with China. Xi Jinping has acted a lot more intelligently in Asia with respect to the confrontation posed by the United States. But the difference between Ukraine is that they have used a great deal of violence to expand the presence and to antagonize, almost to the point that it could well become a civil war. With respect to the Philippines, is that the Philippine leadership has just given over thus far the country of the Philippines to American military interest, and I can assure you that interest will continue to grow, and in the process will corrupt the democratic institutions of the Philippines, because once you make a capital investment in a military base, you want to protect it by developing the political support for it on a continuing basis. If that political support isn't there, then you use bribery to go ahead and develop that support. And so this is a corrupting process of the Philippine nation, and totally opposed to the best interest of the Philippine people, who should realize their economic potential within the community of Asia, which is obviously headed up by China.
Well, yes, I am not alone. At least I can say that here in the Philippines, that have considered later on filing cases against the president for treason, because much of what he has been doing has really been against the Philippine Constitution, and this agreement that which he has had with the United States in permitting the U.S. to put up military facilities inside our own military facilities, and they number right now to about 8 of these areas, is in total disregard of our Constitution, Senator. But be that as it may, I was just quite concerned because all of this militarization of the Philippines to be the friction point against China, considering what is happening also in Eastern Europe and in the Middle East, what do you think? What type of time frame are we looking at in terms of how Obama's mind works? Because the way I'm thinking is that if he does anything of a higher level of conflict in that part of the world, he would not think twice about increasing the level of conflict here in Southeast Asia as well.
Not at all, and of course that's what I refer to. It's a corrupting influence, and there's no question that Obama, up to the end of his term, will try to expand the military presence and lock it in in the Philippines, and first it will be with an agreement. Then later will come a treaty. But you will see this expansion will far exceed what took place during the unfortunate Vietnam War, which unfortunately we were criminals in that regard, and we foisted on the Philippine people as partners in that war, their own criminality. And of course we all know that war, that Vietnam War that killed more than 3 million Southeast Asians and quite a number of Americans, that war was fought in vain. There's no Vietnam is a communist country. It enjoys most favored trade nation status with us, and so they have an independent sovereignty, and they have all the trade benefits that could accrue to them. That's what exactly could happen to the Philippines. I'm not advocating that the Philippines make an enemy of the United States. I'm advocating that they make an enemy of the American military. But as far as economic investment, they should invite as many foreign corporations to invest in the Philippines to bring about a greater degree of prosperity. And I think that China would work hand in hand. China right now in its calculations obviously has calculated that the Philippines is in the pocket of the United States, that it's controlled by the United States, and de facto it is, because of our military presence. So if that military presence were ejected from the Philippines, you would see a much different economic relationship with China, because it would be in their best interest to invest in the Philippines. And I'm talking about economic investments to enhance growth, not military investments, which are negative and do not enhance growth because it's not a productive activity.
That's right.
So that's the future that I see for the Philippine government, and I don't understand how the government would be so blind to what's obvious. We want to make the Philippines, the United States wants to make the Philippines the point of a spear to be able to jab at China. Well, I'll tell you, the results of that will be the impalement of the Philippine nation on that spear. Because if there's a conflict that heats up, that conflict will be on Philippine soil. It will not be on China's soil. It will be on Philippine soil, and it won't be on American soil. And if it progresses, it'll progress into a nuclear exchange, and if that's the case, we're all doomed.
Right. Senator, you had mentioned earlier that China's interest is really economic and not military, or not intending to encroach in our sovereignty. They had put up an airfield in an area which is now being contested by our authorities, by Philippines. And although this is a reclaimed area, they nevertheless, at least the propaganda machine is claiming that this is a first stage towards China's intention to invade the Philippines. Now they are there. It is not. We're not going to be able to change China's mind and get rid of them there. Neither are we going to be able to get rid of the U.S. presence here just like that. What do you think can be done in this kind of situation by the Philippines? Because we don't want to be a battleground for if any conflict arises between these two.
What the Philippines should do is get the American military out of the Philippines. That would open it up for China to make economic advancements. With respect to the airfield, when the United States says that these are military installations, that is not so. A military installation would have to indicate that it's protected and can do something valuable in a question of conflict. Well, one missile from the Chinese arsenal could destroy the whole island. One missile could destroy a nuclear armada. And why would the China ever want to invade the Philippines? It makes no sense at all. I don't know of anybody in Asia that would want to invade the Philippines. This is a paranoia that's instilled by the militarists. Well, we got to spend more money on the military because we're going to be invaded. Well, invaded by who and for what purpose? China would have no. China has more problems that it can say grace over in Western China as it tries to bring about further taking people out of poverty and bringing them to middle class. China has a problem today of overcapacity in its basic industries. That's the reason why China has developed, which I think is the most significant occurrence in the 21st century, and that is One Belt, One Road, where China is suggesting that it should build infrastructure systems. That would mean high-speed rail, that would mean communication systems, road work, on a maritime component, to build ports. China is trying to use its economic strength to unify the world economically, not militarily, economically, and put that against what the United States is doing, which is trying to unify the world militarily under our hegemonic leadership. I mean, it's a conflict that people in the Philippines should just look at it and say, which is the side that we should be on? The one that wants to bring about economic growth for the peoples of the world, or the country that wants to run the world through its military establishment? That's a no-brainer, I would think. But you've got to get away from this paranoia, and that's instilled by the military, because that's how they get their budgets. They instill fear, and we're going to be invaded by China, so you got to spend more money. This is ridiculous. I understand that the Philippines bought 4 super jets, fighter jets from South Korea. Right. What do you think that the Philippines could do with 4 fighter jets? I mean, it's ridiculous. It's a waste of money. There's no way you can really defend yourself from a superpower, whether it be China or the United States. And so if you can't defend yourself, then why waste the money on a defense that absolutely is ridiculous? Right. And what you want to do is to strengthen yourself economically. Now that is power. Now what you see going on in Japan and in South Korea, the United States doesn't push them around like it would be pushing the Philippines around, because they have sufficient economic power that they just won't put up with it. Now, what they're talking about doing is Okinawa, as you know, has a marine military base. Right. Well, what the talk is that we're going to move that military base out of Okinawa because the Japanese are fed up with it, and they don't want us there anymore, and so they're going to move it to the Philippines. So now you're going to have a major military marine base in the Philippines that's heading out of Okinawa. And of course, that's of U.S. interest, because that puts us closer to China, because for the U.S. to be able to antagonize China out of Okinawa, that's 1,500 miles away. With respect to the Philippines, that's right at their doorstep. Right. So you can see that the motivation by American militarists. Now, the American taxpayer is not aware of this. They don't focus on this. Keep in mind, our media is controlled by 6 corporations, which are the handmaidens of Wall Street and the military-industrial complex. So that the American people are not stupid, but they are totally uninformed. And I'm sure that's the case in the Philippines, because they're uninformed as to what the consequences are of the United States arming the Philippines, not for the sake of defending the Philippines, but for the sake of giving the United States a posture to be able to strategically antagonize China.
Well, they always say that here in the Philippines that we have a problem, and the problem is that we are strategically located, and it's and whoever controls the Philippines has a tremendous position vis-a-vis Southeast Asia and the whole of Asia. Now, I wanted to refer to the strategic location of the Philippines in reference to not just China Sea, but the Malacca Straits, Senator. You're familiar, of course, with the Malacca Straits being the principal route.
I sure am.
Now, is this a particular interest of Obama in terms of being able to control this, not just for commerce but also for military reasons?
There's no question that that's part of the equation of what we're trying to do, is to get a large enough presence. And because we won't be able to get a presence in the Malaysia, we won't be able to get presence in Singapore, and so the only logical location is, of course, the Philippines, and possibly Indonesia. But what we've done so much damage to Indonesia in supporting their dictators in the past that I doubt that there'd be a welcome mat for us in that regard. But we have, for some reason, we have a great deal of friendship with the Filipino people, and the American military are capitalizing on that friendship. But by the same token, we have a history both with the Vietnam War and with the insurgent war at the turn of the century involving the sovereignty of the Philippines. And what the Philippines the government has to do right now is become an independent, sovereign nation without a great deal of effort with the military, but a concentration on developing the growth and the prosperity of the country with the resources that it has. That's where the future is, and that's where the benefit to the Filipino people will be. And I can assure you, if the Philippines develops that degree of independence, it will be a partner with everybody in Asia to enhance its growth.
Great. We still have a few more minutes, Senator. I have our colleague here, Art Chubido, who wants to ask a question.
Yeah, good evening, Senator Gravel. Yeah, the Damascus program, or the drone strikes you mentioned, and of course as published from your press release, is quite disturbing. I have a question in that regard. In January this year, a botched military or police operation rather, to hunt down an international terrorist in the southern part of the Philippines, which killed at least 44 special forces of the Philippine police, some civilians, and some reports also say there were 2 U.S. soldiers killed. An official investigation says that United States military drones were just used for live feed of that operation. That is, drones were only used, and U.S. military involvement were only for intelligence gathering. Senator Gravel, I can't help but ask, how far can it be like from that of the drone papers which were published online by The Intercept? Any thoughts on this, Senator?
I can guarantee you, based on my judgment and experience, that the argument of gathering intelligence is just that, an argument to be able to get a larger footprint of using drones in a military fashion to kill people. And here again, you have problems internally in the southern part of the Philippines. That is a police matter of the Philippine government. That has nothing to do with the United States, and we should have nothing to do with that. What happens is this, under this guise, oh, we're going to help you, military. Well, I'll tell you, be careful of the offers of help, because usually they involve a set of chains and a political influence that will corrupt your government and will corrupt the people themselves. And so, please, if you have problems, they should be handled through police work. They should be, and that's an internal situation, and they should, and you could get help from other Asian countries, but because everybody would have a stake in the Philippines being stable. And so, but you don't have to develop a dependency with the United States, because all that is going to do is going to serve our interest, the U.S. interest, to be able to militarize the Philippines to the hilt with American military. And we've seen this happen in other countries, and you need, but look around the world where we've been with our military, and all we have is suffering. Death and suffering. We're like the four horsemen of the apocalypse. We go around the world saying we're going to help people, and what we leave in the wake. Look at the tragedy going on in Europe today with what we've done in Syria, and that's what we've done. It was instigated by the CIA, and I can assure you that you have a CIA presence in the Philippines that is not operating to the best interest of the Philippine people.
Yeah. Okay, Mr. Senator Gravel, I was just thinking about, it is the first time, I think, in as far as I can remember as a senator, and I'm not too young anymore. As far as I can, it's the first time I heard a U.S. Senator speaking like this, speaking for us Filipinos, and speaking in this way, in effect going against certain onerous policies of the present administration in the United States. And the reason, you should be welcome. Well, you're like a breath of fresh air for many Filipinos here, because every time we hear a politician from the U.S. coming here and talking to our media and visiting us, they are, of course, contrary to exactly what you're saying. Now, I'm sure there are some people who are listening that would like you to run for president of the United States, if that ever was possible.
I've done that before, and I didn't want to be president before, and I don't want to be president now. I'm just crossing and praying that Bernie Sanders will become the next American president, because then you'll see substantial changes in foreign policy.
Right. Okay,
but I'd be happy to visit the Philippines at some point to engage in this conversation. At the university level, at the PR level, and now keep in mind, I may be the exception, but there are other sitting senators who feel like this, but they can't stand out because the United States is in a very bad position, and that is that the media is controlled by Wall Street and the military-industrial complex, and by the AIPAC, the Jewish community. And so as long as that continues, there's nothing we can do on this side. What has to be done is to fight these battles with in other areas, like fighting for the sovereign independence of the Philippines, and try to persuade the Filipino people to say, hey, we are free and independent, and we don't have to kowtow to anybody in anybody's military. And that's the argument that has to be made to the Filipino people.
Well, thank you very much for your intervention here, Senator. I hope this will not be the last time we can be in touch with each other. There will be certain steps that will be taken. I understand that the Supreme Court will be taking up this complaint with regard to the constitutionality of the EDCA, which is the Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement. And we hope, of course, later on, if we can get our acts together here, that we can get together with you with regard to your assistance for that particular move on the part of patriotic Filipinos.
Well, I'll be, Butch, I'll be sending an intervention document, which is the equivalent under our system of an amicus brief. And I'll be sending that off Tuesday to the Supreme Court of the Philippines for their consideration. And, of course, I would be very grateful for them to entertain that, and I'd be honored to have them entertain that. But they would have a responsibility to make a decision in the best interest of the Philippine people. But I would say that after that decision is made, I'd be happy to accept an invitation to go to the Philippines and engage this debate with anybody that would choose to within the Philippine government. I'd be happy to debate anybody in this regard. This stuff, this is not rocket science. This is basic human rights.
That's right.
And the sovereign rights of the people of the Philippines are paramount. And by the people exercising their sovereign rights, they can help the United States straighten out its own problems with its own military dominance within the United States.
Well, as you might know, we too are in a election process preparation. We're having our national elections come May next year, and we have a series of presidential, vice presidential candidates, senatorial, and so on and so forth. And none of them actually want to touch the subject. And yet, this is the most critical issue that we should be facing in the near future.
Which you're so right. You're so right. And if we could do anything by raising the temperature on this subject with the media, then maybe some of these people would have to take a position.
That's right.
The position is a very simple position. If I'm a Filipino, I'm for the Philippine interest and not the American interest. We want to be friends with America, but we don't want to be controlled by the United States, period. And I think that's a very saleable position to take within the Philippines. But the issue has to be raised.
That's right.
And that's what I hope that we can do within this context. And the Supreme Court can do it, because if the Senate of the Philippines has to adjudicate this issue, and even if it doesn't, it can do it voluntarily like it did back in 96, and that is of its own volition. It can start a debate on this subject, and this is the most significant debate that could be had politically. And so, Butch, your task, and I'd be happy to help, we've got to make this the issue of the next presidential and your congressional political contest. It's got to be the issue. Are we for the Philippines, or are we for a foreign government?
That's right. You sound like a Philippine hero, whose movie we just watched about 2 weeks ago. At any rate, let me add also, Senator, that this is not just a Philippine issue, because the way it can be turning out now, it is not only a Southeast Asian issue. It could be precisely a global issue, because this is where the U.S. is involved on global activities that might not be that might be inimical to many sovereign nations. No? So,
Butch, you're so right. Let me just add to this briefly, that you're so right, because if we can start a chain of action in the Philippines to demilitarize it from an international point of view, I got to tell you, Korea will follow on. We don't need American troops in South Korea. There's not a threat in that regard. All it does is instigate and support the North Koreans. We don't need any American presence in Japan or particularly Okinawa. We just don't need it.
That's right.
There's nobody about to go to war with each other. What brings about war is an excessive militarization of society. That's what brings about war. You need but read the history of how the First World War began, and you can see it as plain as your face, is that excessive militarization leads to conflict and war.
That's right. Well, let me thank you, Senator Mike Gravel, on behalf of all the Filipino listeners now, here and around the world. Let me thank you now and in advance for all of the cooperation we will be getting from you with regard to this matter. As they say in Filipino, maraming salamat po, Senator Gravel.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm honored to participate.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Yan po, kakatapos lang po natin makapanayam. Walang iba kundi isang United States Senator. Of course, he's no longer Senator. He's not incumbent anymore, but he was a three-termer senator. Yan po si Senator Mike Gravel, coming from Alaska. Marami pa po siyang hindi na-mention. Malapit po siya sa Filipino community sa buong Alaska. Three-termer po yan, at nakikita nyo, lumalaban pa. Medyo may edad na rin po siya, pero lumalaban pa siya, at hinarap niya si Obama tungkol dito sa drones, na marami siyang pinapatay, sabi niya, at kinonfront niya dahil basically ang sinabi niya sa isang debate na immoral ang ginagawa ni Obama tungkol dito sa drones, hinarap niya at sinabi ni Obama sa kanya, bakit, sino ka ba para questionin ang ginagawa ko, yung mga ganyang klaseng salita. Pero matapang po ito, at ang kanyang paninindigan ay para sa bansang mga mamamayan ng bansang Amerika. Pero ang sinabi niya din sa isang interview, ang nangingibabaw sa kanyang paninindigan para protektahan ang mga mamamayang Amerikano, ang nagingibabaw daw, sabi, yung protektahan ang sangkatauhan. Yung protection of mankind as a whole is the only thing that goes above his interest in protecting the American people. Ganyan din po naman tayo. Sabi niya, hindi pwede sa akin yung my country right or wrong, sabi niya. Hindi po pwede hindi daw niya kayang sikmurain nun. Pag mali ang mga liderato ng kanyang bayan at gumagawa silang kasamaan sa sangkatauhan, kinakailangan daw pumasok siya, dahil pag nag-intervene siya, pag sinabing kasamaan sa sangkatauhan, ang bansang Amerikano daw ay kasama dun sa sangkatauhan. Pag gumagawa ng masama ang liderato ng Amerika laban sa sangkatauhan, pati na rin yung mga mamamayan Amerikano ang pinapatay nila. And that is the way he sees it. Kanya po kanina sinabi ko, medyo nakakagulat na may ganyan pong mga politikong Amerikano ang nagpapahayag ng ganitong pananalita. Pagdating nila dito, medyo yung mga pumupunta dito na chocho itong mga liderato natin, puros ng bobola.
Kabot kahanga-hanga yang si Senator Mike Gravel. Mike Gravel. Kasi Hindi ko nakikita sa ating mga politiko yan eh. Yung mga ganyang pananalita. Yung ito kano ito eh.
Kano.
Pero ang concern niya yung talagang
tama.
Makamamayan. Yan.
That's right. May kita nyo, sabi niya, kung siya'y Pilipino, ganitong sabi ko, para kang yung napanood namin na sine. Hindi ko na sinabi yan ni Luna. Pero ano ba ang pipili mo, di ba? Bayan mo o ibang interes? Yan po si Mike Gravel. At naging kaibigan na po natin at dito sa ating himpilan at dito sa mga darating na panahon, palagay ko kung mamarapatin, matatawagan din po natin siya para magbigay ng ibang pahayag. No? Kaibigan din po siya ng ating kaibigan na si Mike Billington, no? At siya po ang nagpakilala sa atin. Ito pong kanyang sinabi na gagawa siya ng intervention. Ito po ay with the cooperation and participation, walang iba kundi isang ating magiting na abogado dito na tumatakbo sa Kongreso, si Harry Roque, no? Siya po ay tumatakbo with the party list, na malalaman nyo na po yan pag later on nagano. Pero at ang pinagsama po natin sila para nagkakaunawaan dahil ang isang rinerespetong, yan lang po ang sa kasalukuyan rinerespeto kong abogado ngayon, etong si Harry Roque, dahil ang kanyang interest ay para sa bayan at hindi ko po siya nakikitang kumikiling maski papano dito sa mga ibang mga interest na hindi pang para sa bayan. Palagay ko kanya po siya nahirapan na sumali sa mga ibang mga partido dahil wala siyang nakikitang posisyon na gusto niyang pagsamahan. Kasi po, itong mga tumatakbong presidente ngayon ay walang posisyon. Okay, let's go and ask Rereng. Nandiyan ka pa ba, Rereng? Wala na si Rereng? Si Jose Molina, magandang gabi po.
Magandang gabi, Professor Woods, sa mga kasama, gandi kay Senator Mike Gravel, ano? Ano siya, yung liderato niya, makatarungan siya. Yan ang mga kailangan leader ng bansa. Kung ano man ang problema ng mga bansang malalaki, lalo na Russia ng US, dapat magtulungan na lang kayo. The best yan, para kung anong problema ng China, Russia, US, ng mga bansa, tulungan nyo na lang, wag nang mag-away. Igalang nyo ang karapatan ng mga bawat sovereignty ng mga bansa, katulad ng Pilipinas. Huwag nyo na kami pinag-aagawan dito. Ang litli na ang bansa namin eh.
Ang kaso, Mr. Molina, yung presidente natin pumapayag na gawin tayong base militar eh, no?
Ay, yan ang, kasi pwedeng, ano yan, kasi hindi naman, siya kasi nalagay si Jan, baka ang naglagay sa kanya dyan eh, mga CIA, ng US.
Hindi, maski na sino pa sila.
Oo, kaya lang, pumapayag siya.
Yun, dapat niya, protektahan ng bayan. Diba? Maski na ba malalaki yung tumututok sa kanya, bakit pa siya naging leader, di ba?
Kahit blackmailing siya, kung talagang interest.
Labanan niya.
Labanan niya kasi ang basa na lahat ng bayan ng Pilipino ang karapatan nito at ang hinaharap ang nakasalalay dito sa mga leader natin. Kaya kung ang leader natin hindi makatarungan,
traidor ang tawag diyan.
Kulang 'yan. Dahil sa dami ng perwisyo inabot ng mga Pilipino. Kaya President Noy, baguhin mo hanggat may pagkakataon ka pa.
Habang buhay pa siya, di ba?
Ina lang po, salamat po.
Okay. Kanya po ang hinaharap nito mga leader na ito, treason, no? Treason. At dati po, ewan ko dahil wala na tayong ganyang penalty. Dati po ang penalty sa treason death by musketry no? Pinapatay po yan no? Pagtratraidor sa bayan, no? Yan ang yun nga ang si General Luna, di ba? Pag sinabi na nagtra-traidor, pwede kang ang penalty doon kamatayan eh. Artikulo 1, di ba? So, alam niyo po, ewan ko kung meron pa tayong konting panahon. Meron pa ba, Ber? Ha? Ito kasing andito na bencha natin si Artikulo 1. Alam niyo po, ang birthday po ni General Luna, pasensya na po kayo pero hindi po na maalis sa ating kaisipan itong si General Luna. Ang birthday niya po ay October 29. October 29. It's now October 25. So 4 days from now, birthday na po ni General Luna. Noong pong 1968, nag-birthday sa kaarawan ni General Luna. Meron pong isang nagbigay ng speech, no? Ito pong nagbigay ng speech, binibigyan niya ng parangal si General Luna. At babasahin ko po ang mga ibang mga parte ng speech niya, no? Ang ganito po ang sabi niya. Antonio Luna, the man whose birthday we mark today, that is October 29, occupies a relatively minor rank in the pantheon of Filipino heroes. This is due not certainly to lack of personal gifts. He was just as talented as the other Renaissance men that our country produced in the 19th century, nor to the quality of his contributions to the Filipino nation, but mainly to the controversy that surrounds his violent death in Cabanatuan, Nueva Ecija. Whether justly or unjustly, the mysterious circumstances of his assassination have obscured his very distinct personality and his valuable contributions to the making of the Filipino nation. Antonio Luna was a man of many parts. He was a scientist, a writer, an athlete, and a soldier. His accomplishments in the fields of science and literature were slight, but they bore the imprint of an original and meticulous mind. However, Luna will be remembered not for his scientific and literary achievements, but for his military accomplishments. It was as a soldier that Luna was transcendent. He was a commander that he towered above his contemporaries. It was in the field of battle that he was able to express fully the drives of his complex personality. He was certainly our first military genius. In the Battle of Santo Tomas on May 4, 1899, Luna was wounded in the leg. He was given a medal, and on this medal was engraved the legend: 5 de Febrero, 1899, La Loma. 10 de Febrero, 1899, Caloocan. 25 de Febrero, 1899, Caloocan. 24 de Abril, 1899, Pulilan. 25 de Abril, 1899, Kalumpit, Bagbag. 27th of April, 1899, Apalit, Rio Grande. 4th of May, 1899, Santo Tomas. 7 major battles in 4 months, and all of them fought with such skill, cunning, and gallantry that even his enemies were moved to proclaim his genius. 7 major battles that are now epics of Filipino heroism. His famous three-tiered defense, known now in history as the Luna Defense Line, succeeded in prolonging the life of the First Philippine Republic, and hence of a free Filipino nation. His ideas on guerrilla warfare have remained relevant to the present day. Marami pa po siyang sinabi dito, pero towards the end, ang sinabi po ning nagbigay ng speech, we can pay no greater honor to General Antonio Luna than to make our national boundaries secure. We can pay him no greater homage than to absorb his military doctrines into the defense plans of the nation. Yun po ang ending ng speech, pero marami pa pong sinabi in between. Ang nagsabi po nitong speech na ito, 1968, October 29, 1968. Hindi po ako nangangampanya for anyone, no? Pero ito po ang talumpati ni President Ferdinand E. Marcos, no? Noong October 29, 1968, nung binigyan niya ng parangal si General Antonio Luna. Okay, it's time to read the text messages sent to us by our listeners. Their opinion is not necessarily ours, but we reserve the right to read them to the public in the interests of freedom of speech.
Okay, first text, ngayong gabi ka, Butch. Congratulations, Butch, for bringing Senator Gravel to your program to enlighten our people and liberate our minds from our own treasonous leaders and media. Let's follow through. Text po ni Arthur Alvendia.
Thank you, Arthur.
Okay, sunod na text, Kuya Butch. Ako po ang matagal mong listener mula ng 209 hanggang ngayon. Sinusubaybayan ko ang sinasabi mo. Totoo lang, sinasabi mo, Datu Palawan Binatak to ang Palawan Sur.
Okay, Kabutch, announcement from the Diliman Book Club. The launching of Vivencio Arjos's monograph on General Antonio Luna shall be on October 27, Tuesday, 1:30 p.m. at the College of Arts and Letters, UP Diliman. UP President Alfredo Pascual and Chancellor Michael Tan will speak. Luna was born on October 29, 1866. The organizers decided to hold the book launching on October 27 instead of the 29th because of anticipated traffic before All Saints Day. Be Luna's 149th birth anniversary. Next year, October 29, 20 year, is sesquicentennial.
May nagpapabati lang, Sir Butch, si Ethan. Sunod na text, good PM, National ng komando, mayor ng komando, nabaril siya ng kapwa-kosa niya at bago na din meaning ng NBP. NBP means nagbarilan bilanggo sa prison, Ron ng Bacoor.
Good evening, Kabutch. Manti Matias po ito. Gusto ko lang pong malaman kung mayroon kayong alam at kilalang tamang kandidato na makakatulong sa bayan. Good evening, mga katipon.
Sorry po. Wala po ako nakikitang kandidato ngayon sa pagka-presidente na makakatulong. Wala pa po tayong naririnig sa kanilang mga programa. At narinig nyo na po itong pinag-uusapan natin ni Senator Gravel. Meron na ba kayong narinig na ating mga gustong maging presidente na magbibigay ng kanilang opinyon hinggil dito at kung anong gagawin nila? Napakalaki pong suliranin ito. Napakalaki po. Gagawin po tayong battleground nitong Amerikano. Anong gagawin nila?
Okay, sunod na text. Kung sira ang ulo ni Noynoy, bakit minumura at pinapagalitan nyo? Magalit kayo sa milyong-milyong bumoto sa kanya. Ayoko ng nuclear.
Sir Butch, good evening. Napakagandang pakinggan ang kapag binabasa ni Ma'am Cathy. Word for word ay binibigyan niya ng diin. Sana si Ma'am Cathy magbasa palagi. From Dong Abarde ng Bandaca, Manila.
Yun nga sabi ko, kaya lang absent eh.
Sensya na po. Sunod na text, binabati ko po yung Lola Tasingko. Nakikinig po siya ngayon. From Jericho Casillo po ng Tanay Rizal.
Good evening, Mr. Butch Valdez. Tama lang na may military presence ang US sa Spratlys. Kung gusto natin na wag maghari ang mga inchik dyan sa Spratlys. Kung pabor kayo sa mga inchik, palayasin nyo ang US military presence sa Spratlys.
Sunod na text, good evening Butch Valdez at Katipunan. It's time na wakasan na ang panloloko ng pangkat ng EDSang Dilaw dahil para sa kanila, okay kaya palalawakin pa nila ang tuwid na daan? Sila ang ugat ng paglugmok ng ating bansa na privatized basic services at di pinandar ang nuclear power plant. Thanks, NATO Heritage, Marilao, Bulacan. Mabuhay, Save the Nation Movement.
Good evening, Prof. Butch and Company. Kasalanan ng mga botante. Kaya naging Pangulo si Pinoy. Tapos si Roas naman, mag-isip na tayo ngayon. Lahat ng paraan gagawin ng LP. Manalo lang sila sa tuwad na daan. Happy listening kay Eunice Nunez ng Pita, Dinalupigan, Bataan. Si Totoy ng Saudi. Totoy sa Saudi ng Santa Maria, Bulacan.
Okay, sunod na text, Sir Butch and Company, kailangan na po natin kumilos para patalsikin ang inutil na presidenteng ito. Benigno Simeon Cuangco Aquino at itong si Butch Abad. Dapat sa mga ito dalhin sa luneta at doon na lang i-firing squad para hindi natularan Teddy ng Caloocan. Good PM po.
Kabutch, may konsensya kaya si Abnoy? Nakakatulog kaya siya gabi-gabi sa mga pinagagawa niya sa atin?
Alam niyo po ang problema daw ng mga may Asperger's autism ay hindi po nakakaramdam yan. Wala pong karamdaman na compassion, konsyensya, wala silang kakayanan magkaroon ng ganyang klaseng yung ating tinatawag na konsyensya. Kanya wag niyo na pong hingan kasi may kapansanan nga daw po eh.
Okay, sunod na text, Kabutch. Sana lang totoo ang mangkukulam. Kung marunong lang ako, matagal ko nang kinulam ang Abnoy na yan. Torres ng Laguna.
Sira din ba ang ulo ni Obama dahil dinala siya sa White House at doon sila nag-usap? Text po ni Toti ng Davao.
Oo nga daw eh. May ano din to, tawag dyan kanya narcissistic tsaka Nero complex. May planong magpasabog daw ng mundo, no? Alam niyo po yung si Nero, sinunog niya yung buong Roma at nanood siya habang nag-violin, no? Kasi nga sira eh, no? Ang problema ngayon, bakit ang daming sira? Sino bang nahawa dyan, si Obama o si Noynoy?
Okay, sunod na text. Mabuhay Kabutch and Katipunan family. Melvin from Mabalacat Community High School, Mabalacat, Pampanga po. Kailangan po natin ang tulong ng mga politiko para bumuti ang takbo ng pamumuhay nating mga Pilipino sa loob at labas ng bansa. Pero kung wala isa man sa kanila ang may kabatiran sa mga prinsipyo at advokasya na isinusulong ng iyong programa at samahan, nakakalungkot ka, Butch. Patuloy tayong malulugmok sa kawalang liwanag. Ipagpatuloy po ninyo ang pakikibaka para sa kabutihan ng ating bansang mahal. Mabuhay Katipunan.
Pinapatanong po ng lola ko kung magkakagera. Text po ni Jericho.
Kung hindi po natin mapipigil, yan po ang mangyayari. Kasi po itong mga si Obama, mukhang inuumpisa niya ang gulo, inuumpisa niya ang paghahanda dito sa malawakang gera. Yan po ang sinasabi at wina-warning sa atin yung senador ng bansang Amerika. No? Hindi na tayo nagsasabi niyan, sila na ang nagsasabi. No? At kinakailangan daw magkaisa ang mamamayang Pilipino para pigilin at paalisin ang mga base militar ng mga kano dito. Pag pinaalis nyo yan, mas madali pong kausapin daw yung China hinggil dito sa kanilang mga ginagawa.
Kabutch, nag-research po ako sa internet, nagbabala na ang IMF at Bank of International Settlements. Nasa matining panganib ng sistemang pananalapi ng buong mundo, kaya tama lahat ng sinasabi nyo. The world financial system is on the brink of total collapse and Third World War is on the horizon. Pag po nagkataon, wala tayong eleksyon sa 2016. Text po ni Napkalma ng Baliwag, Bulacan.
Okay, sunod na text. Basa ko na yan. Ayan. Sunod. Senators Disgrace, Panday Poe, and Cheese Bolero Escudero will not get tired, reminding all candidates in next year's election to refrain from mudslinging and other forms of negative campaigning that are counterproductive. Their spokesman said Friday, mudslinging, dirty as it may seem, unexpectedly does something good in the corrupt world of Philippine politics. It makes trapos hang each other's dirty laundry in public. In the absence of meaningful debates like what they do in America, we get to see who is the most corrupt and who is not so corrupt. Through this method, it's a win-win for the voters of this country.
Not really. Alam niyo po ang nangyayari sa atin ngayon, puro picture taking, puro meron ngang mudslinging at lahat. Wala pong kabutihan ang ginagawa dito. Wala pong programang pinag-uusapan. Kaya wag na kayong masyadong kumikilos para dito sa mga walang kwentang eleksyon, no? Okay, ang ganyan na lang po tayo. Napakarami pong nag-text pero we don't have time anymore. Sa ngalan po ng ating mga katipon dito sa ating katipunan at sa mga galing na staff ng DZXL Radio Mo Nationwide. Kami po ay pansamantalang nagpapaalam at nagpapasalamat na sinamahan nyo kami ngayon ang Ora de Peligro ng ating bayan at ng buong mundo dito po sa ating katipunan. Hanggang sa linggo pong muli, mga katipon, 7:15 to 9 p.m. Magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat.